Imagine waking up and realizing you no longer need to know every detail before you make a move forward. Imagine that you stop overthinking every single step. You stop needing external approval. And for the first time in a long time, you start acting with courage instead of fear. This is what's waiting for you on the other side of perfectionism. In part 1, I showed you what trying to be perfect or being afraid of imperfection is really costing you. But what happens when you start letting go of the fear underneath it all? What changes in your confidence, your decisions, and your relationships? So today I'm going to show you what starts to happen in your life when you stop caring about perfection and why it's way more rewarding than you think it is. I'll also give you 3 ways to start making that transition toward imperfection without feeling like your life will fall apart. The first thing that will happen is you will start releasing the fear that keeps you preoccupied with how other people will see you and how other people will respond to you. You can't imagine what it will open up when you detach from this. Whereas fear constricts and restricts you, releasing fear opens you up. You'll start to think differently and see opportunities and ideas you never saw before, because you're no longer filtering everything through other people's needs and opinions. And these are things you can't even predict or control anyway. So you start seeing past all that to what's actually possible. It will also sharpen your creativity and problem-solving capacity. It unlocks procrastination as well and helps you take more courageous, purposeful, and bolder moves across every area of your life. So instead of feeling stuck or stagnant, you start taking action and seeing better progress in your goals, all of which frees you up to not only use more of your real strengths and abilities, but also to embody the second shift you'll experience, which is that you move towards greater self-acceptance and deeper self-awareness instead of self-alienation and self-abandonment. Because chasing perfection also puts you in a state of constant judgment and harsh self-criticism. But the better you know and accept yourself, the more you can hold the full picture of who you are. And I mean all of it, your strengths, your weaknesses, and your blind spots, without condemning yourself, without needing to hide or being defensive about any of it. That's what frees you to actually be yourself. This is what gives you true inner confidence. Not the kind that looks good on the outside, but yet is fractured on the inside, but the kind that can withstand rejection and disapproval from others, because your worth no longer depends on it. The better and more deeply you can love and connect with yourself, and you're not performing to be accepted. This third shift is what becomes possible, which is being truly loved and fully known. Because to be known, you need to let yourself be seen. Beyond how well you achieve and get things right, you need to be able to ask for and receive help, and not always be the strong one that has everything together, because that's what creates true reciprocity in relationships and real mutuality. This is what turned relationships from performance to genuine connection. Now, if you've watched my first ever video on this channel, Vulnerability Done Right Changes Everything, you'll know that I'm not here for vulnerability being used as a tool for acceptance or attention. And I'm definitely not here for forced vulnerability, where people pressure you to be open and transparent before you're even ready, and just because deep down they want access to your weaknesses. What I'm talking about is different to that. I'm talking about sharing your inner world with people who have earned the right to see it. And the link to that video where I talk about this is below. But what you share in your inner world will never be perfect, because none of us are perfect. However, that is the beauty of true, meaningful relationship and connection. Now, if you're hearing all this and you're thinking, that sounds like exactly what I want. I want to be on this other side of perfectionism, but I feel so far from it. I just want to stop you for a moment, because I don't want you to try to be perfect at not being perfect. This isn't about flipping a switch overnight, because no change happens overnight. The more important thing is to become aware of the perfectionism choices you're making each day, the defaults you're running, and starting to make different choices and run from different defaults. And you can get there without question. How do I know? Well, because I've seen it, not just in my life. I've shared my story across various videos on this channel, but I've also seen it in the women that I've coached, inside and outside of my corporate roles as well. This is attainable. You will get there. I am rooting for you. Just don't fixate on the destination. Focus on today, because today adds up to your week, which adds up to your year, and ultimately your whole life. So how can you start making these daily choices to release perfection? I'm going to give you 3 very simple shifts that you can start reflecting on or challenging yourself on today. The first shift to start making your transition towards imperfection and away from chasing perfectionism is to take your gaze off the external and build your own internal convictions, including how you define success. Whenever I had to embark on something new, I would get overwhelmed by the expectation that I placed on myself to produce something exceptional. And that overwhelm would make me freeze. Then I'd end up doing things last minute. And so I'd live in this loop that I describe in one of my videos of overwhelm, freezing, panic, and anxiety. And this cost me physically and mentally. And it also made me avoid going for things, not because I didn't want those things, but because I didn't want to trigger that loop again. Things started to change for me when I changed where I was putting my focus. Instead of fixating over one marvelous outcome that I alone had to produce, I started emphasizing progress and just getting things done. Done did not need to be marvelous, by the way. It just needed to be done, because success became defined as what I was learning. And without doing, you can't learn. So that made getting things done essential. Progress no longer needed to mean perfect either. It meant whatever I had defined it as. By the way, if any of this is resonating for you and you want a little bit of help putting this into practice, I created a free weekly progress guide called True Tally. It gives you 10 new ways to define progress and success beyond just perfect completion, so that you can start loosening perfectionism's grip on you. And I'll leave the link to that below in the description area as well. Also, tell me in the comments, or just take a second to pause this video and reflect on the questions. How would you define a successful day when it has absolutely nothing to do with anyone else's approval or verdicts on you? The second way to kickstart your transition away from perfection is to destroy fear's grip on you. You fear the rejection and abandonment that could happen if you're not perfect, if you mess up, or don't meet the standard and expectation. But until you believe that you can handle this rejection, that fear will keep ruling your mind and your decisions. So let's just say people do think less of you because you mess up or don't deliver to their expectations. And let's just say they do reject you. You need to start trusting that you can handle it, that you will survive it, in part because you have already survived so much. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here right now listening to this video. It is also paramount that you reassign the meaning you've given this rejection or abandonment. At the moment, you're assigning deep significance to what others might do to you if you're imperfect, the price you may have to pay. But it's time to repurpose it and assign that importance to what you're doing to yourself when you keep seeking their approval through perfectionism. So I asked this question that I had to ask myself and others. Whose love are you really trying to earn with all the striving? Who did you really want to be seen by who didn't see you? If performance and perfection are prerequisites, it's not worth chasing and it will never work. Is it really worth the self-abandonment, the harsh self-talk, the exhaustion, the shrinking, the constant inner pressure? So instead of living to avoid other people's disapproval, start building the relationship you actually want with yourself. Compassionate and uplifting, but also honest and challenging. And if you need the reminder, I'm going to share what I've said in other videos. Your worth is not something other people get to vote on. It's non-negotiable. It's an indisputable fact, separate from your achievement and your output and your performance. I use the 3 Ps of optimism with my clients, and it's from someone called Martin Seligman's work. And I use it to help them weaken fear's grip on them in the actual moment. The way fear talks to you when something goes wrong is usually saying, this is permanent. This will always be like this. And that only heightens your fear, right? It also says this is pervasive. In other words, this ruins everything. And it says this is personal. This is going to happen or has happened because of you. You're the problem. Perfectionism feeds on those three thoughts, and it makes you think the worst will happen if you drop the ball. And I'm actually going to do a video on this in the future, thinking the worst, because it's a thinking pattern that sits behind so much of perfectionism. And it says that any mistake will feel permanent, that it will affect all areas of your life, i.e. it's pervasive or it's global, and it's personal, i.e. it's a reflection of you and who you are. So of course you'll try to control the outcomes, or you'll chase perfection. So when perfectionism starts making you fear the worst consequences, weigh it up against the 3 Ps by asking, would the consequence really be permanent, or would it actually be temporary and fixable? Would the consequence really be pervasive, i.e. would it ruin my whole life, or would it just relate to one situation, one moment and one area? And lastly, would the consequence of this failure or mistake really be about me? Would it be personal, or would it just be down to timing, context, the other person perhaps? Or could it be a specific behavior that I can adjust? You can survive whatever comes your way. The consequences, if they do happen to come, will not destroy you. You've got this. You have got this. So you're reorienting your perspective and changing your mindset. You're loosening fear's grip on you. The third thing you can start doing is taking small acts of daily courage. This is where you commit to tiny steps and tangible actions that are rooted in your responses to questions like, what if how people saw you was irrelevant? What if you acted from your own internal convictions and definitions of success? What would you do differently? And one of my personal favorites, what if you did fail? So what? So I'll leave it with you. Which path is better? The path of perfection, where you're driven by fear of rejection and abandonment, constantly seeking a response that says, I approve of you, or the path of courage and conviction, where you pursue purpose, progress, and true self-confidence? I'll let you decide. Courage is hard when you still feel like you need external approval. So I recommend you watch this video next. I'll see you there.